Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Article comes to you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So T-Mobile is setting standards. They're setting clear standards as it pertains to satellite, right? Direct to satellite. They're setting the standard. They're setting the standard in cost, what the service entails, how it performs, because nobody else is able to offer a similar type of service today, right? I know there's Apple out there and there's some other ones that have been partnered with, but T-Mobile is saying that they're so far ahead that nobody has anything like them, and that they're so confident in it that they're opening it up to other carriers, right? So one thing, and I want your guys' input in the comments, is this just simply overhyped, right? Because at first, on the 23rd of July, it's gonna launch with SMS texting and MMS. I think some have already spotted the MMS, that pictures can be sent and texts can be sent, and some have said it works fairly well, right? Others have said it just doesn't connect much, right? Hopefully, once it goes out of beta commercially, maybe they turn up the power a bit more since they got that clearance from the FCC, and hopefully it can connect a bit better, right? So that was, from what I've heard, that was a pretty big thing for AT&T and Verizon, that T-Mobile got to go first, because now T-Mobile sets pricing, they set standards, they have the opportunity to make this an immediate use case, right? If there's remote workers in very remote areas where there's no terrestrial networks, like AT&T and Verizon don't have native coverage there, then T-Mobile has the ability to now sell that business on that service. And then once October 1st, and T-Mobile launches the data services to allow application experiences on the satellite network, right? Once the APK, SDKs are sent out and they use a compression technique, and you can use it without any issue, right? Even though it might not look the best or feel like the best quality, it's still a selling point for T-Mobile, and it's still a use case. It's an immediate use case. That's how Verizon and AT&T are viewing it. If there's an insurance adjuster that needs to go out into a rural area where nobody has coverage to submit a claim, he may be able to do that on T-Satellite. He may be able to. So that's an immediate use case that business can make use of. So if that insurance adjuster, whoever they're with, if they're on AT&T and Verizon, now they may show strong interests on switching to T-Satellite. But many have said, is it overhyped, right? Are people going to jump and switch to this, and then their experience is going to be not the same, right? Versus what is talked about publicly, right? T-Mobile says you don't have to start a game, you don't have to throw your phone in the air for it to work, right? What if that is the case, that you do have to do that, right? You don't know 100%. It's just too many variables, right? In beta, you kept it with a certain amount of people. Now you take this commercial and you let everybody on it, things could really change. So a T-Mobile spokesperson clarified for Light Reading that T-Satellite is included in our Experience Beyond and the Go 5G Next plans. T-Mobile customers on other plans, MVNO customers and Verizon and AT&T customers, can opt in to the service for $10 a month per line. So if you really think that this service is game-changing, maybe life-changing for you, depending on where you travel, then the $10 could very, very well be worth it for you. So do you guys think this is really a game changer, right? Because some are saying it's overhyped. Like even here, it says not a game changer, but still a new standard. T-Mobile said its service exists because there are 500,000 square miles across the country where no carrier can reach. You'd never know that by looking at all the maps and commercials the big carriers have bombarded consumers with over the years, but today is the new day. And T-Mobile is saying this while still maintaining the smaller native network. So that's crazy. So even though, yes, T-Satellite will cover those 500,000 square miles where no terrestrial network exists, but this will also cover some white spaces, or rather a lot of white spaces, where even T-Mobile doesn't have coverage and Verizon and AT&T do. And that's a problem in my opinion. Now carriers are willing to admit that they can't reach everywhere because they finally have a product that can. You can upgrade to the highest postpaid tier, which is over $100 a month, to enjoy the perks of satellite connectivity, even on America's best network. Does that feel like trolling? Analysts don't expect satellite services to be a game changer for telcos. It's a competitive lever, a talking point, a feather in their cap, but it's not 6G, right? And that's correct. Of course, they're going to hype it up. Of course, they're going to try and sell it because they want you to pay for it. But once you actually experience this, are a lot of customers just going to unsubscribe, right? If you're on the highest plan, of course, it's already included. But if you have to pay an extra $10 per line per month, are some customers just going to say, it's not worth it? I tried it. It's cool to have. It's not a must. We don't travel all the time into areas that don't have any networks, right? Because that did come up in conversation a few times. If you're in an area that has no native coverage from anyone, right, should you really be in that area? Right? That's a question I was asked. And I know some people like hiking and bike riding off-road and into rural areas, and that's fine. But if that service is not what it's cracked up to be, is it really, really, really that important? And then here's another one from Moffett-Nathanson Research Group. Issued a note to clients on June 23rd stating they don't expect T-Mobile nor others to generate incremental cash flow, as the additional revenue generated will need to cover the cost of all customers using the service, including those existing premium customers that will generate no additional revenue, they wrote. It's very expensive to run this direct to sell or D2D. It is extremely expensive, especially now that Starlink has 657 satellites in the sky. It is extremely, extremely, extremely expensive to run this service. So that $10 cost per month per line, I can see that increasing quite quickly. I don't expect that to stay at that same $10 price point. I see that going to $15, $20 at some point, especially once they get calling, they get the data services better, maybe even more dedicated spectrum going towards it. Then I can see them charging, even more for the service. So the question then becomes, right, what's more cost effective here? We have to look at that too, right? Is it more cost effective in some cases, for T-Mobile to pay whatever the deal that they made with Starlink for those satellites? Is that more effective, more cost effective? Or at some point, when there's a lot of high traffic, is it just more cost effective to build new sites into those areas? And T-Mobile will have to review that, right? There could be some areas that Starlink covers today that just have too many users, right? So you're risking higher churn, the experience degrading as more and more people jump onto the satellite. So then at that point, does it really become more cost effective to just deploy sites, right? It has to come up in conversation at some point because satellite is very expensive. So let me know in the comments if you think this is overhyped. Would you rather wait and see how this plays out, see if the service does drastically improve once it goes commercial, say a year from now? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets as Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.